Good morning, everyone. Tiffany Quinn here, and this is our 25-minute lower body strength and mobility workout. Today, I'll be helping you move more efficiently and build range of motion within your knees as well as your hips, and build strength in your glutes, your quads, and your hamstrings using a series of up-tempo mobility exercises incorporated throughout the workout and basic dumbbell strength training. Now, all you'll be needing for today's workout is a set of lower body dumbbells, as well as a yoga block for elevation during 2 of our intervals for knee mobility. Keep in mind, if you don't have the yoga block at home, this is okay. It's alright to be creative and find something around the house of a shorter stature just to prop yourself up on. Now, smash that thumbs up button for me, subscribe to the channel for a new routine every week, and don't forget to grab your free April fitness guide from the links below. If you are someone that would like to increase your range of motion as well as progress in your strength training, this is going to be the perfect calendar for you to follow along with, and this is day 1, so take advantage of it. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get into it. What's up, everyone? Welcome in for our lower body strength and mobility workout. Now, what we've got in store today is a series of our up-tempo mobility exercises to complement the strength work that we'll be doing for our glutes, our quads, and our hamstrings. We've got 2 main circuits to cover, 9 minutes in length each, and our interval timer will be set today for 60 seconds work with a 20-second rest between. Now, we're actually starting off with hip internal and external rotation before we go into our glute and hamstring strength. So before we get started, I do want to show you, for a visual standpoint, what we'll be doing exactly through that joint. Now, we're doing capsular cars, like I said, for internal-external rotation. So if I was to bring my left hip into flexion, because we'll be going into our lying stance, and rotate that knee away from the body, this is our external rotation of the hip. Now, if I rotate my knee inward, again through the hip joint, this is our internal rotation of the hip. We'll be doing exactly this, but from our lying tabletop position. Now, the other important thing to remember here is that whether you're in your anterior or posterior hip tilt, not so important. It's okay to be in your neutral stance, but what we don't want to happen is for the hips to rotate left, right, forward, or back, all right? So let's go ahead and get onto the mat and start in our first position. You can start with the legs nice and long, and just to test your abs a bit, as we roll back, let's lift the legs into our double leg tabletop and then extend that right leg long. Now, let's make sure that the knee is aligned with the hip and go ahead and take those arms out to the sides with the palms facing down. We're going to start with our external rotation of the hip in 3, in 2, and 1. All right, going into our first external rotation, hold 3, fight for a bit more range, 2, and 1, and opposite direction into internal rotation for 3, for 2, and 1, and take it the other direction for 3, for 2, staying in a pain-free range of motion but still fighting for more, and back into internal rotation for 3, for 2, for 1. Now let's take it a little bit faster, back into external rotation and back into internal rotation, the entire time keeping that knee in line with the hip. Back into internal and back into external. Great job. Another 4 and 3, working those capsular cars for 2. Let's get 1 more on either side. Come back to neutral and extend that leg nice and long. All right, you can either relax that leg down or you can go ahead and lift that other one up. Now let's just take a peek down, make sure both of those hips are in alignment. We're not tilting to one side or the other. And again, keeping those palms at your sides for support, starting with our external rotation in 3, 2, 1. Externally rotating through the hip. Hold tension through the leg and back into internal rotation. Heel is coming out away from the midline. And back to our external rotation for 3, for 2. Try to fight for a bit more range. And opposite direction into internal for 3, for 2, for 1. You're doing great. Stay strong for me. Back into external for 3, for 2, for 1. Back to internal. And let's take it a bit faster. Into your external rotation, heels coming towards the chin. Internal rotation, heels coming away from the midline. Back to external. Back to internal. You're doing great. Another 3. Another 2. Last 1. Come back to neutral and extend that leg long. Now we're gonna go ahead and do our first weighted exercise. I'm using my 20-pound weight, and I'd like you to load that onto the pelvic bones, and then let's bring those feet to neutral in line with the hips. Now plant the feet firmly down into the mat. We're actually starting in our anterior rotation with the hips rotated back. And as we come up, we're gonna slowly curl the hip bones towards the chin into our posterior hip tilt, coming up for 3, for 2, for 1, and lowering about 3/4 of the way, keeping that posterior tilt forward the entire way through, for 2, for 1, and back up. Keep holding that tilt forward for 3, 2, 1. The glutes are squeezed. We're coming down vertebrae by vertebrae for 3, 2, 1. Keep fighting for more posterior rotation on the way up. 2, 1. Fight for more still on the way down. 2, 1. And back up towards the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Now tuck the hip bones as much as you can. Fight for more posterior rotation. Hold 4, 3, 2. Start lowering down for 3, 2, 1. Back to neutral, and you can relax that hold. All right, weight can come away from the pelvic bones now. We are coming up to standing for sumo squats. So the legs are coming wide, the feet are gonna be out at 45 degrees. And we're holding that weight low. You can go with your heavier weights today if you'd prefer. And we're coming down into that squat. We pulse and back up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Shoulders are away from the ears. Chest is tall, proud, lifted. Pulse and raise. 1, 2, slowly come up. Think about contracting the quads and the glutes on your way up to standing. Knees are nice and wide. They're behind the toes. We're pressing through those heels. You're feeling good. It won't be the sweatiest workout we've ever done, but you will feel it. 3 and 4. Come down, pulse, up, and 4. Let's get 3 more. Last 2. Careful not to lock out the knees at the top. Last 1. You can lower that weight on 1. All right, we're gonna go ahead and grab both of our lighter weights now. And by lighter, I'm going with 15 pounds for our narrow deadlifts. So feet are in line with the hips, face forward, weights in front of the body. We're gonna keep those nice and close. Coming into our narrow deadlift, raise up, and alternating reverse step. 1, 2, reverse, and stand. Take your time here. Working through hip flexion as we come forward, back is straight, and extension on the way up. Thinking about pulling yourself down through the hips and raising up through extension. Booty goes out and away from you. Eye gaze is following the direction you're going. Stay strong, stay tough. Depending on your energy level today, maybe you want to take this a bit quicker with lighter weights, or go a bit heavier and take it slower. I'll leave that up to you. Make the workout your own. I'm just here to guide you through it. Let's get 2 more. Full reps. Last one. Lift it up. I'm gonna finish that lunge and back to standing. All right, we've got our narrow deadlift to follow, combined with a crossbody deadlift. So I really like those. So 1 step back on the right, heels lifted, balancing with the toes, not placing weight into them. Coming down, lifting up, step it out, bring it across. Still keeping the back straight and the hips forward. Weight staying close to the body. 1, 2, 1, 2. Feeling the stretch in the hamstrings. Once again, working through that flexion and extension. After this, we're back down on the mat. and we're going to play tug of war with our hips. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a party. And raise, keep that shoulder away from the ear, scapula drawn back. 1, 2, keep it slow. Separate those movements. Stopping where your hip rotation ends, not taking it any further. The back is staying straight throughout. Last 2. Full reps, guys. Last one. And raise, finish it up, and back to standing. All right, we're going over to that other side, and I do feel like I could take a little bit more here, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my 20-pound weight for the next one. Take a step back on the left this time, heel is slightly lifted, micro bend in the knees, and we're coming down, lifting up, cross body lift, and raise. Shoulder away from the ear. Again, following the eye gaze forward. You don't want to be staring up at the ceiling while you're going down, right? Not great for the neck. Core is nice and tight. And if you want to feel it a bit more, try to lift your toes up off the mat as you come down, holding the core tight for that balance. Personally, I love deadlifts, can't get enough of them. Wrote up an entire workout for deadlifts this morning. So, if you've never done my workouts before, just know that you'll be really good at dumbbell deadlifts if you stay with me for a while. And lift to the side across, and lift. Both hips are still forward on that cross body deadlift. Let's take it one more full rep here. Last time across, raise it up, and come on down to your mat for me. Now this is where things get pretty interesting. So we're actually gonna start off with the feet planted in front, bent knees, and we're going to collapse the left leg and the right leg down. So now we're in our 90-90 position, and from here we're fighting between our external and our internal rotation. So I want you to start lifting that back leg up into external rotation, keep the heels dug into the mat, and keep the left leg down, planted on the mat for as long as you can. Now, as that opposite leg starts tugging on the other leg, we're going to try to allow it to come back up, hands at the side for support if you need it, fighting against that opposite leg as you come into internal rotation, bring it all the way down, and reverse it. So now the left leg is coming into external. Oh yeah, tug of war, remember. So the other side is fighting it. You're trying to keep it down there as long as you can until you can't fight any longer. Your team has given up, and the opposite side comes over and then collapse it down. All right, let's take it another time, working right through our next rest point. I feel like this gets my adrenaline way up, because I'm like, yeah, right leg win, let's go. All right, try to fight that rotation as long as you can. It's okay if you need to lean back a little bit. Upright is going to make it harder. And tug of war on the other side. This is going to be our last time. All the way out. Ooh, yeah. Fighting for range of motion. Still staying in the pain-free range. And collapse it down. And come on over to the front for me. All right, let's take both of those legs in front now. And now, yes, we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to take them out to the side. Feet are flexed. Knees are wide. Now, gently lower your legs as much as you can actively. Now take your forearms and place them over the knees. Now we're gonna gently press down on the legs, relax the tension in them, keeping the feet flexed, trying to form those 90-degree angles here, and just hold those forearms in place. We're working on external rotation here. Now what I want you to do is we're going to work against our own arms. So we're gonna stay exactly where they are, hold tension through the body, chest is lifted tall and proud. Now start driving your knees up into your forearms for 4, 3, that's right, 2, 1. Now relax them down and try to press them into a little bit more range of motion for 3, 2, 1, and you can bring those legs back up. How did that feel? Quite a challenge. We're now going into our knee rotations, our controlled articular rotations. So the right leg can come long, the left leg can come in. Now gently hold either side of your knee, flexing the foot into dorsiflexion. We're going to externally rotate, kick up, internal rotation, flex down, out to the side, and up through the knee joint, in and down. Now try not to allow your foot to compensate here. We're actually using the knee joint to move, and the foot is simply following where the shin is going. Up, internal rotation, flex down, and out. Kick up, internal rotation, flex down, and hold it here. Hold that internal rotation, reverse it up, external rotation, flex, and in. Kick up, external, flex down, internal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I did try to angle myself so that my lovely area was not directly in your face, but there's only so much I could do to show you tug of war with the hips. Sorry about that. Last internal rotation, last kick, external, flex down, and we're going over to that other side. I am gonna grab some water. So how do we feel? Remember, you're really trying to isolate that joint. Don't allow the ankle to do the work for you. In 8 seconds, we're going over to that other side, starting with our external rotation, hands gently over the knees, kind of blocking the upper leg here. Flex the foot into dorsiflexion, external rotation, extension, internal rotation, down. Now for our next exercise, this is when we're gonna start bringing in the block, only for 2 intervals. So if you don't have it, you can get creative with it. You can hold behind the thigh for our next exercise, all right? Or you could just do it from a flexed position with the knee like we're in now. In and down, take it out, up, in and down. Hold that internal rotation, reverse kick up, external rotation, flex down, internal rotation, extension, external rotation through the knee and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you stare at it, it might work harder for you. Something I've found to work actually. In, extend, out, last time, bring it down and extend that leg. Back over to the opposite side that you were just working. So I'm going with my left here. We're grabbing a hold of that yoga block. Now rather than having at its flattest point, we're gonna prop it up a little bit because we do want a little bit of structure here. So this is going to come right below our thigh. Starting with the leg in a bent position, the opposite leg can either come inward into a 4 or straighten it out, whatever feels best for you. The foot is in dorsiflexion, hands behind for support, kick up into extension, heel tap down into flexion, up into extension, and heel tap towards the mat. After this, we are going into the last of our strength exercises, and that will complete our workout. Kick up, and back down. This is a great way, by the way, to warm up for your squats and your lunges, including the controlled articular rotations we just did. And back down. Kick up into extension. If you have pain behind the knee, don't extend so far. Come down. Lift up into extension. Back down. This last one we're gonna hold. So kick up, extend as high as you can. Avoiding any ranges that are causing pain. I want you to minimize that range then and hold, let it tremble for 4, 3, there you go, 2, and slowly let that leg parachute to the floor, over to that other side, flexion and extension, my friends. All right, I think my favorite is definitely the tug of war exercise. All right, so let's bring that block below the thigh, either leg long or in that 4, going in 3, hands at the sides for support. By the way, the more you lean forward, the harder it is. Easier if you lean back. Into extension and flex back down. Think about isolating the knee and also fighting for dorsiflexion with the foot. Kick up into extension and flex back down. Into extension and back down. Every time I lift up and go to drop, my leg's like, hey. It's like a little bobblehead. And back down. Kick it up, back down. Looks like Jello on the way down. All right, well that caught my attention. Into extension, flex back down. Extension, you know you're overtired when you're laughing at that. Lift up, back down. This last one we're gonna hold for about 10 seconds. So lift it up into extension, really straighten that leg out as best you can as long as there is no pain involved. You're gonna feel a bit of a contraction on the quads for 2, On one, slowly let it parachute to the floor and come into a kneeling position for me. We are now going to test our knees out after performing all of those. So from our kneeling position, we're going into quad lean backs here. The hands are gonna come out to the sides to start. Relax the feet behind you. We're gonna hip tuck forward like we did earlier, squeeze the glutes, pancake butt it, and lean back as far as you can for 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. 4, 3, 2, 1. There's no arch in the back. Straighten it out. I want you straight as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Remember when we were 12? And up. 2, 3, 4, and down. 2, 3, 4, and up. And lower. As much as you can. Come on, fight for it. Up. 2, 3, 4. If you want it harder, hands behind the head, elbows wide, and down. 2, 3, 4, and raise. 2, 3, 4. Last time. And hold. And bring yourself on up through those quads. We are now coming into standing and grabbing a hold of one or both of your weights, you decide. So I'm gonna go with goblet squats. If you are going with both weights, simply you're going into a narrow stance, down and up with the weights on the shoulders. Otherwise, if you're going single, let's go goblet squat. Feet are in line with the hips, elbows in line with the thighs, coming down, lifting up. Keep the weight close to the body here. And up. Like you're awkwardly sitting into a very low chair. Coming down and lifting up. Facing straight ahead. Give it a pause at the bottom. And don't allow the knees to lock out at the top. You're doing incredible. You've only got 3 more exercises to go. Easy. And up. Through the quads. Think about the muscle you're working. Think about the stretch happening on the way down, the contraction happening on the way up. The back is straight, the chest is lifted. We're not sinking forward. We're not drowning ships. And lift. And lift. Last one. And lift it up. And you can bring that weight over to the side. So now we've got, and you're not gonna like me for this one, you can go with single or double weight. Again, make the workout your own, as hard as you want it to be. We've got front step lunges, unfortunately. So for me, I like having it on the shoulder. We're going to step forward, heel first, come down, and step it back. Coming forward, the heel first, and step it back. If you need help with these, try to take that stance a little bit wider, or go without the weight. And up. Give you a little different view. Step forward, step it up through that front heel. And back up. 40 seconds, take your time. I don't want you to rush through these. I want you to think about the front side mechanics happening here. A lot of the time, what I used to do is I would plant my toes first and come down. It's not what we're trying to do here. You actually want to work on that dorsiflexion that we just worked on. Step forward and back up. And up. And up. Let's try to get 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Back up and have that rest over to the other side in 20 seconds. After that, we've got 1 more exercise to do, and that one's down on the mat. 10 seconds, guys, get ready. We don't need the block. We don't need our bigger weight. Going in 2, going in 1. All right, I owe myself a rep there. Step it forward, step it back. This is my better side, thankfully. Save the best for last. Back up through the heel. Step it wider if you need to, and press up through the heel. Not allowing the knee to slam down. If it gently graces the mat, that's all right. If you're falling to the mat, then even hold on to a wall next to you for support. That's all right, that's how you learn. That's how your body trains itself for the neuromuscular reaction you're gonna have to it later on. after you've done a few sets of these. All right, heel first, step it up. 4 more. 3 more. Tough it out. Make it to the end of that timer. Last one, last stand, and weight can go over to the side. Let's get all this stuff out of your way. We're going into our bear plank position for a donkey kick and down dog combination. All right, come on down. Hands are in front of the shoulders, straight line there. If you did want, by the way, you can use the weights for elevation. Hovering the knees off the mat, feet are flexed. We're gonna donkey kick on the right, extend in a downward dog, back in a bear plank, and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back is straight. 2, 3, 4. Amazing. Feel the flow. You'll find it. It's tricky at first, but once you got it, now try to smooth it out. 2, 3, and switch. 2, 3, and switch. 2, 3, and switch. Incredible. Again, still following the eye line forward, keeping the knees about 1 inch from the mat. In line with the hips still. Knees are parallel. And know that you've got a really nice stretch to do after this. 1 more either side. Even things out. Bring it back to neutral into that bear plank and lower the knees down. Relax the feet. And if you'd like to stay for our quick hip cars, which I would highly recommend, always good to practice these, go ahead and grab your yoga block for me. We'll be using it as a pillow. So 4 reps each side. Coming into our side lying position. Bottom arm comes forward. Top arm's going to punch down before we even get started. Make sure both of those hips are in alignment, not tilting forward, not rolling back. Flex the top foot, lift it to hip level, and bring yourself into hip flexion. Abduct away from the body, internal rotation. Adduct down, stack forward, kick back, external rotation, adduction through the hip, and extend. That's 1. Bring it in, open out, internal rotation, bring it down towards the midline, stack forward, into extension. Don't compensate at the lower back, external rotation, fight for more hip flexion as you come down, and extend. That's 2. Out away, internal rotation, adduct down, stack it forward, bring it back, out wide. I did say up tempo today. Last one. Try to fight for more hip flexion. Make this rep your best rep. Bring it down, stack forward, into extension, open wide. Fight for hip flexion, back towards the midline, extend, and quickly switch sides. 4 reps, either side. We're almost there, and then I'll set you free. And next week, we actually have full body mobility and strength supersets, which I think is gonna be pretty interesting. Okay, flex that top foot for me. Both hips in alignment. Top arm punches down. Pull tension throughout the body. I want everything nice and tense up. We're gonna come into hip flexion. Open away from the body. Internal rotation. Adduct down. Stack forward. Donkey kick back. Open away towards the midline and extend. That's 1. Bring it up into hip flexion. Open away. Internal rotation. Back to the midline. Come forward. Extend back without compensating at the lower back. External rotation like we practiced earlier. Back in hip flexion and extend. That's 2. Hip flexion, abduct away, internal rotation only through the hip joint, nothing else is moving. Stack forward, kick back, external rotation, into adduction and hip flexion and extend. 1 more. Into hip flexion, abduct away from the body, internal rotation, adduct down, stack forward, donkey kick back, external rotation, fight for more hip flexion on the way down, extend, and relax that leg. Okay, everyone, that completes our strength and mobility circuits. I hope you had a good time. I actually ended up getting a bit sweatier than I thought I would, but I think it's late at night and my adrenaline starts to kick in at that point. It's like, all right, girl, we gotta get through it. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It does help support what I do. It also helps me find new people like you who somehow found me, which is kind of a miracle if you think about it, in a sea of like millions of YouTubers and Instagrammers and TikToks. So welcome in if you are new to my channel. If you aren't, thank you for always being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the comments that you leave me. And I would actually love to hear as well, what have you gotten from my channel in the past year? So if you've been with me for a while, what have you found to be like very new and like very useful to you that you think I should do more of? Because I think a lot of effort and learning has gone into this past year, and I'm really hoping that you have noticed that, all right? So thanks everybody. I hope you have an amazing day, and stay for the close where I'm telling you everything that's coming up next, and I'll see you for our next workout. Thanks for joining me for today's workout, everyone, and be sure to let me know in the comments what was your favorite up-tempo mobility exercise from today's routine. Don't forget to like the video before you head out so I know that you made it all the way through the workout. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to help support what I do. And don't forget to grab your free April fitness guide from the links below. Turn those notifications on because next week we'll be doing a full body dumbbell strength training with supersetted mobility exercises. This one's definitely going to be fun and you're sure to learn a few new things. I can't wait to share it with you, and I'll see you for the next one.